Hello, 8th grade. I want to show you today the first part of making your clay bobblehead character. So this is one that I have made. This is, of course, Darth Vader. Really love this one. I think the details look really cool on it. You can see back here he's got his little arm and his glove, and that's his little lightsaber. He's got his belt on. I've got some details up there around his collar and thing and his face. Most important thing, guys, when you're making these, use a visual reference. I did the entire time that I created this and painted this. And I think that has a lot to do with why my work looks so good. When you stand them back up, it's kind of hard to see from the top, but once I get little Vader's head back on, you can see that it indeed does bobble. It's made from two pieces. The top is really just a pinch pot. You're going to be working with air dry clay. That way we don't have to worry about getting it back into school and firing it in the kiln. And the bottom one is just a cone. If I look under here, under his cape, you can see it's just a cone shape. And the inside of it has been hollowed out with a tool that I'll be giving you. Okay, so I want to walk you through the first couple steps on how to get started with your bobblehead. I'm going to break this down into a couple different videos. Yeah, so anyway, so in the kit that I gave you guys, I'm going to walk through those materials. There is a water bottle in there. That is to keep your clay wet so it doesn't dry out on you and crack before you're done building. I put in there several tools, a couple different clay tools. Yours might look a little bit different than mine do, but for the most part, they're going to do the exact same thing. They've got rounded edges. Some of you might have gotten some that look like a knife. You've also been given a loop tool to use for subtracting. Subtracting is when you take clay away from the surface of the clay. That one is in there. You're also given a wooden stylus. You can see it's got a point on the end. These are really good for adding in details, drawing in fine little lines, cleaning out clay burrs. That's a really good thing to use. You've also been given a popsicle stick. The one I give you is going to have a flat edge on it. I just haven't done that yet. And the other one is going to be rounded. This is really good for cleaning up your joins, smoothing out surfaces, anywhere where your finger cannot fit. Okay? And most importantly, you've all been given a bag of clay. This is air dry clay. Now the chunks that I gave you, please do not squish them all together into one chunk. Okay, I have weighed out each one of these. They're air dry clay. It will come off of your clothes. I would suggest that you put something down on the tabletop wherever you're working, if you're working at home, something like that. It's a little bit stickier than what our usual clay is that we put into the kiln. This does not need to go into the kiln to be fired. It will harden probably after about 2 days just sitting out. Then it'll be ready for painting. Okay, so the two larger chunks are what you're going to work with to build the head and the body of your bobblehead. And the smaller one I gave you to add on details and things like that. If for some reason you need more clay, please let me know in an email and I will get it to you as fast as I can, either in class or I will leave it in the office for you. Okay, so to start out, let's start out making the base. Okay, so I'm going to take this clay, and it really bends easily, and I'm going to just kind of start to shape it and roll it into, you can roll it on the table too, get it into like a cone shape. Now, hopefully you have a ruler at home. This is kind of important. We want your cone, let me check Vader's here. Let's see, Darth Vader's body is about 4.5 inches tall. Okay, so that's about the height that we want yours at as well. So I'm looking from the base to the top of the point for the cone. The cone is, the top of the point here is where the head is going to sit, and that's what makes it rock back and forth. Okay, I wouldn't worry too much at this point about smoothing it out and making it look pretty, because you're going to be coming back in here and adding on your own features and things like that. You can kind of knock it on the table to get a nice flat surface on it. Okay, let me do a little measuring. Okay, I'm about 4.5 inches. All right, there, that's looking good. Okay, now this is really, really solid in here. We don't need it that thick. So at this point, you're gonna use this loop tools that I gave you, and you're just gonna start scooping out the inside of your clay. Now, I did notice, I've never really worked with air dry clay a lot before, but I did notice that it wants to stick to like the tools and things like that. It's kind of a pain. As it gets drier, it carves a lot easier. So I could wait until this gets a little bit drier to carve this out. Okay, don't go too thin with it. You can probably carve it about the thickness of your finger. That will be fine. As it gets up closer to the point of the cone, be kind of careful that you don't carve through. If you do, you can, you know, patch it up with the clay that you've got. You guys can see, look at how much it's sticking. It does get better once it dries out a little bit in the air. It does get a little bit better. Okay, and you really don't have to worry about this being really smoothed out. You're not going to see it. But I'm just coming in here using my subtractive tool, and I'm scooping out that excess. That will help our piece dry a lot faster. And you can use the clay that you're scooping out. Highly suggest that you put it back into the bag, and you can use that for adding on arms and legs and features, whatever you've got going on for your little, your bobblehead. Okay, so your bobblehead, guys, I'm leaving it completely up to you. Whatever it is that you would like to make, as long as it is school appropriate. One thing I do not want to see is a mushroom. They're so easy to make, and it's an obvious shape for this. So I'd like to see that you're maybe pushing yourself a little bit more to make something a little bit more unique than that. Okay, so at this point, I've got it scooped out pretty well, and I'm just going to kind of come in here and using my thumb on the inside and just kind of smoothing that out a little bit. All right. Okay, so for now, I'm pretty happy with the base of my bobblehead. There it is. It's just a cone. Remember, about 4.5 inches tall would be a good height for that. By the time you get the head on, it'll be about 5 inches. Okay, I'm going to set that one aside. All right, working with the second ball of clay. Both of these are 300 grams, so they've been measured out perfectly fine. Use either one. I'm just going to kind of take this in my hand, and I'm just kind of knocking it into a ball. Don't worry about it being like a perfect sphere, okay? That's not a big deal. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my thumb. I'm right-handed, so my right thumb is going to get pushed into the center of this. Then I'm going to be making this kind of a motion, almost like a duck quacking. I'm not going to dig in like this because I will dig right through the side of my pinch pot. You're going to be moving it more like this, more working on like the pads of my fingers here and the pad of my thumb. So I'm going to push my thumb in. If you had me for 6th or 7th grade art, you guys know how to make pinch pots very well. So when I'm doing this, I'm just coming in here and I'm opening up the inside. And again, I'm making this kind of a motion. I don't have all my fingers on the inside of it. It's just my thumb. That's all I need in there. And I'm going to go around and I'm spinning it. Don't do this on your tabletop because you're going to have a flat bottom. We want more of a circular curved bottom like this. And I'm just going to go around it. And I can kind of gauge the thickness too by going like this. If I have a spot that feels really thick, I can kind of move that down. If I have a spot that's really, really thin, I can move clay towards that. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of stand it up like this, and you can see it's basically like a dome, a half of a circle. So if I was to take this, put it on top of here, I have the start of my bobblehead. Okay, that's it for this video. The next one, I'm going to show you how to add in details and things like that, but this is the start. Bye, guys.